see here, I put another piece of 1/8 balsa wood up in the front. That's to give this thing, keep it stiff so it's not going to flop back and forth on you. And if we can zoom over here, this ring that I painted yellow comes separate from the actual motor housing. It just slips on and off. It's very, very tight, kind of awkward to get on. In fact, on the Ice Racer number 1, I never even glued it on or anything. It stays on there pretty good. And then I just take this, push that hard up against it. Now I tried to mark underneath, but it's kind of tight getting up inside of there, so I went inside, marked it out using the shroud here as a template, and you can see my mark. I'm going to carve that out, and then all this should fit right down inside. I may have to carve out a little more to make room for the ring, and I use CA glue on all of that. And once I'm set with everything as far as mounting this motor, what I'll do is I'll cut some holes into this, making this a little bit lighter, probably right there. I'm using 1/8 inch balsa, maybe even a little thicker than that. No, that's 1/8. And I just made some paper templates to start with, just to give me an idea of what I'm looking at. And then I just copied for the other side. To make this a little stronger joint, see if we can get this in. I left the side piece extend a bit. Right out here, extended that a bit. Put my vertical piece right in between there, so right now it's just put in with CA glue, but I like to have something a little stronger, so I'm going to lay a little bit of 5-minute epoxy down through this little channel right here. Outside it'll be fine. Now, hopefully you can see this. Now we're still a little tight. We want this to come out here just a bit, so we're still a little tight. And what I'll use is a larger felt marker, and I'll just kind of watching the thickness of my marker. Give me something to shave off more. That should stick out to where this ring is going to fit, which looks like it's probably just a 1/16, but this red will give me something to guide me by. Alright, there you can see I didn't go all the way down to that line, just using it as a guide. Shaved off enough, so now we're coming through. My mounting tabs are nice and flat, and I still have the room. There you have it. Now it's not really going to go up that far flat, because, well, I could. That's what I should have done to begin with. But where I have my holes mounted, that'd be okay. I think what I'm going to do, it will be attached to my hatch. Run a few strips down to make like a V. Be a little more aerodynamic. And I'll leave the back open. Now my plywood mounts, I've cut them so I have generous amounts of wood on either side. And what I'll do is I'll pre-drill, so I'm not going to split this wood up. I'll pre-drill, put my screws in there. Then under it, because we're only gluing to that 1/8 balsa wood there, so under here I'll put a little piece of triangle stock. It'll go right out to the corner here, down. That'll give that more support. Okay, I have some triangle stock here. Get in the frame here. This is a little large. It looks like it's like 3/4 by 1/2 inch. It's something I had in my stash box, but it'll work. And if you notice, I've already pre-drilled, put my screw in there to hold my plywood pieces in place. The same thing on the other side. And because the screw's sticking out a little bit right there, where are we? I've notched this out a bit right in here, make clearance, and I cut these a little extra long, no problem. I will epoxy that in place like that, and then later on I just cut and trim off all the excess. I had my hatch cut all the way out to the back here. I cut the portion off up to the motor mounts, And off this former here, I drew a line connecting them, and to make things quick and simple and exact, again, I took another piece of this cardstock, index cardstock, cut a piece to that width, folded it in half, got my center. Now if I went and connected, this is going to be part of my hatch, so if I went and connected this portion here to my motor mount, it's not going, the hatch is not going to come off. So what I had to do was set up another piece of 1/8 inch balsa wood. I traced it out, then I took my motor and I kind of eyeballed it. It's about a 1/4 inch right here. This is my actual motor size shroud, and then I about a 1/4 inch mark here, laid that down, traced around the outer shroud, and I'll cut this out, and this piece up against here, this all come off together with my hatch. So when I take that hatch off, this whole entire piece is going to come off. You can see here I'm getting started with the front. I'm using 1/8 inch round dowels, and I'm using my little rasp bit, just notching this balsa wood. Got my centerpiece first, notch these ends, CA glued them. I'm gluing it right to the hatch. My next piece will go out here, doing the same thing until I get right up to where I want to go. And I'm saying you want to leave a good gap right here when you make this former, because when you lift this hatch off, you want to be able to clear this outer ring. So that's why it's a little extra big. And also the sides, I didn't match up to the motor mount side, otherwise it's going to look funny with the hatch cover. So I brought it out, curved it out just a bit to blend in with the top of the motor mount and my hatch cover. So, and then down here we're just shaving the end of the dowel on an angle to match up. This is a little high on this side, but we can sand that down later on, not a big deal. And I'll just continue on doing that. And I also, behind this former, I put the cling wrap, something plastic, so my glue isn't going to accidentally go and end up gluing my former to my motor mount. For this piece here, because we're going in the solid part of the wood, I didn't run my little rasper all the way through the wood, because there's a good chance I'm going to puncture that plastic and I'm going to glue everything to my motor mount. So I just kind of recessed it in there just enough for a glue joint, and we'll lay that piece right in there like that and do the same thing on the other side. Alright, pretty much got the front hatch done. On the back here, I took some cereal box cardboard, glued that to the back, because no matter which way I run the grain of the wood, horizontal, vertical, these portions here are going to be pretty brittle. So this be coming on and off all the time, something's going to break. So I glued that hard cardboard on the back, and I still have to shave this down just a bit because of the cardboard. I got an extra tighter fit now. You can press that on there. It's kind of a snug fit. We're pulling away here a bit, so I just have to trim up that little piece of balsa wood, add some more balsa wood underneath this. You can see where I screwed up here a little bit. When I was gluing the balsa wood pieces on the bottom, I didn't put any cling wrap on underneath, and when my pins went through into the poster board, the thin CA saturated or wicked through the pinholes and kind of glued it to the poster board, so I had to kind of sand that up. But I shouldn't be able to see that once this thing gets covered. And then in the back, we have the back hatch. And this will be covered with the covering material. And I'm using little tiny magnets to hold these in place. This I'll probably screw in, because now I got access, good access to my parachute release servo. And we'll glue some wood on the bottom side here to be recessed inside of there, so it's going to be a good snug fit.